This is something I've been working for these last 4 or 5 years of this college career I've been going through. I'm really ready to turn the page now. I'm working tirelessly, just getting my mental ready.
This might be the wildest rookie introduction we have seen in Golden State Warriors history, and I don't mean that in a this kid dropped 40 points in Summer League kind of way. I mean, the man walked into one of the most legendary franchises in the last 2 decades of professional basketball, opened his mouth, and said something so genuinely honest that Steph Curry, 4-time NBA champion, 2-time scoring champion, the guy who literally revolutionized the sport, had to respond on Instagram within 24 hours. 24 hours, chat. That is not a slow burn story. That is a full-on immediate reaction from a living legend to a rookie who hadn't played a single regular season minute yet. So buckle up, because we are breaking this entire thing down, layer by layer, word by word, and I promise you by the end of this video, you are going to have a completely different opinion on Yaxel Lendeborg than you walked in with. Let's go back to the beginning, because context is everything here, and y'all are not ready for how this whole chain of events actually started. Yaxel Lendeborg, 21 years old out of Michigan, gets drafted 11th overall in the 2025 NBA draft by the Golden State Warriors. 11th pick. Not a lottery star in the traditional sense, but solidly in the top 12. Which means the Warriors front office looked at every available prospect in that class and said, this is our guy. This is the piece we are building around going into this next chapter of the franchise. And look, Lendeborg had the pedigree. The measurables were there, the motor was there, the versatility scouts had been raving about for 2 full years leading up to draft night was there. This was not a reach. This was a calculated, deliberate selection by a front office that has won 4 championships and knows what winning basketball requires at the foundational level. But here's the thing about Yaxel Lendeborg that nobody really saw coming: the man has zero filter. And I mean that as the highest possible compliment in a league where rookies are coached from the moment they get an agent to say absolutely nothing, to smile, to be grateful, to never give the media anything to run with. This kid from Michigan sat down in front of cameras and microphones during pre-draft interviews and just started talking.
It's a weird feeling to have the pain that I'm having right now. I never experienced it before, so coach said at worst.
Genuinely, authentically, without a publicist whispering in his ear, talking. And what he said, gang, is what we are here to discuss. What if I told you that Yaxel Lendeborg, the man who was about to put on a Golden State Warriors jersey and play alongside Stephen Curry, sat in that pre-draft setting and told the world that he used to hate Steph Curry? Not disrespect him in a competitive way, not say he respected him but preferred a different style of player. Hate. The word he used was hate. And the reason is so specific, so rooted in a real basketball memory, that it actually makes complete sense once you understand where this kid was coming from emotionally as a young fan of the game. Let me break it down. The 2016 NBA Finals, Golden State Warriors versus Cleveland Cavaliers. That series, chat, is one of the most emotionally charged 7-game stretches in the history of professional basketball. The Warriors had just come off a 73-win regular season, a record that still stands as the best single-season record in NBA history. They were up 3-1. The whole basketball world assumed the trophy was going back to the Bay. And then Kyrie Irving happened. Then LeBron James happened. And the Cavaliers became the first team in NBA Finals history to come back from a 3-1 deficit and win the championship. If you were a Kyrie Irving fan in 2016, and there were millions of them, young kids watching that crossover, watching that step-back 3 over Curry in Game 7 with 20-some seconds left, watching the most clutch performance arguably in Finals history, then yeah, you probably had some complicated feelings about Steph Curry, because in that moment, Curry was the guy on the other side of the greatest thing your favorite player ever did. Lendeborg was young. He was a fan first, and fans attach meaning to these moments in ways that stay with them for years. So when Yaxel said he used to hate Steph Curry because he was riding hard for Kyrie during those 2016 finals, that is not a disrespectful statement. That is a real, human, basketball fan confession that approximately 60% of people who were watching that series would relate to depending on which side they were on. It is honest. It is specific. It is the kind of thing you only say if you are not trying to play a character, if you are just being yourself and letting the truth come out. And chat, I respect that more than I can put into words. Now, here is where the story takes its first massive turn, and y'all are not ready for how Steph Curry handled this. Because the easy response, the response that 99% of established veterans with 4 rings and a legacy as one of the 50 greatest players of all time would give, is no response at all. You are Steph Curry. You do not need to address what a rookie said about you during a pre-draft press run. You smile at practice, you shake his hand, you let the basketball court do all the talking, and the whole thing fades in a week. That is the veteran move. That is the safe move. Steph Curry did not make the safe move. Steph Curry went on Instagram and responded, publicly, with humor, with personality, with the exact kind of energy that tells you everything about why the culture inside that Warriors organization has remained elite across different rosters and different eras. Word for word, listen to this. Curry essentially told Lendeborg that he was going to work hard to become his favorite player. He did not clap back. He did not get defensive. He did not call a meeting or have a veteran to rookie conversation behind closed doors. He turned it into content, gang. He made it funny. He made it warm. And in doing so, he immediately set the tone for exactly what kind of relationship these two are going to have inside that locker room. Think about what that response actually communicates on a deeper level, because I'm not even lying, there are layers here that the casual viewer is going to scroll right past. When Steph says he will work hard to become Lendeborg's favorite player, he is doing several things simultaneously. First, he is showing the rookie that he is not fragile. 4 rings will do that for your ego. You can afford to laugh at yourself when your resume is built the way Curry's is. Second, he is welcoming Lendeborg into the culture by matching his energy. The rookie was honest and unguarded, and Curry responded by being equally unguarded and human. Third, and this is the one I want you to sit with, he is signaling to the entire league that this Warriors team is going to be fun to watch. Not just competitively, personality-wise, vibe-wise. The way those early Dynasty Warriors teams were fun, not just because of the basketball, but because of who these people were and how they interacted with each other. But we are not done, chat, because the Curry exchange is only the first chapter of what has been a genuinely hilarious rookie orientation period for Lendeborg and Golden State. Let's talk about the Draymond Green situation, because this one has a very specific Michigan wrinkle to it that half the country is going to find absolutely hilarious, and the other half is going to take personally. Draymond Green, if you somehow do not know this, is a Michigan State man through and through. He played at Michigan State. He bleeds green. He is vocal and passionate about his alma mater in the way that only someone who grew up in that world truly can be. Lendeborg came out of Michigan, the University of Michigan, Wolverines country. For anyone who is not steeped in the college basketball rivalry landscape, the Michigan versus Michigan State rivalry is one of the oldest, most emotionally charged, most deeply personal in state rivalries in all of college sports. These fan bases do not exactly go out of their way to celebrate each other. So when Lendeborg showed up somewhere in Warriors adjacent territory wearing Michigan State gear, whether it was for a joke, whether someone put him up to it, whether it was some kind of summer league prank, Draymond apparently had some things to say about it. The teasing was real. And when the question came up about whether Lendeborg might approach Green about taking jersey number 23, the rookie shut that down immediately, declined, did not even entertain the idea. And look, on one level that is just smart locker room politics. You do not walk up to Draymond Green in your first weeks with the team and ask him for anything, let alone his number. But the Michigan State layer on top of it makes the whole thing so much richer, because now you have got this generational rivalry that lives outside the NBA, somehow bleeding into the Warriors practice facility through a rookie who has not played a single game yet. That is television, gang. That is genuinely compelling human drama hiding inside what should be a boring jersey number conversation. And then there is Jimmy Butler. Who brought Jimmy Butler into this? The Warriors did, apparently, because Butler has already weighed in on Lendeborg, and what he had to say is the kind of thing that should have every Warriors fan genuinely excited about this kid's future. Butler, who has seen enough NBA players come and go across Miami, Chicago, Minnesota, Philadelphia, and now Golden State to write 3 books about it, said that he likes the fact that Lendeborg speaks his mind. That was a specific phrase, speaks his mind. And coming from Jimmy Butler, who himself has a complicated and celebrated history of saying exactly what he thinks regardless of the consequences, that is not a throwaway compliment. Butler also called him tough, which from Jimmy is basically a term of endearment wrapped inside a scouting report. He predicted the rookie would contribute immediately, not at the end of the bench, not in garbage time, but immediately in meaningful situations. And then, because Jimmy Butler cannot help himself, he added that Lendeborg would have to beat him at dominoes first, which tells you everything about the personality these veterans are operating with on this new-look Warriors squad. Now chat, I want to zoom out for a second, because what we are watching with Lendeborg's entrance into the league is part of a much larger pattern that has defined how the best rookie classes adapt to winning cultures. Go back and look at the guys who made smooth transitions into contending rosters, not the rebuilding teams where a rookie can take 60 shots a night and figure it out over 3 years, but the real contending teams where the margin for error is basically 0. The guys who made it work fast were always the ones who came in with a personality. Not ego, personality. There is a difference. Ego tells you that you are already better than the guys in front of you. Personality tells you that you are comfortable enough with yourself to be real in a room full of established stars, and those established stars reward that authenticity with trust. Lendeborg has shown in about 45 days of pre-training camp interactions that he understands this distinction, whether he has consciously thought about it or not. The Curry exchange alone would have been enough to put him on the map culturally. The Draymond situation adds texture and comedy. The Butler endorsement adds legitimacy. Put all three together, and you have a rookie who, before he has dribbled a ball in a game that counts, has already won over 3 of the most strong-willed personalities in the entire organization through nothing more than being himself. That is not something you can coach. That is not something a sports psychologist can install in someone at age 21. That is just who Yaxel Lendeborg is, and the Warriors are lucky they got him at pick 11, because with this kind of presence, this kind of magnetism, he was going to make somebody's franchise interesting regardless of where he landed. What makes this whole arc so compelling going forward, though, is the fact that none of these interactions have had even a degree of genuine hostility underneath them. And I want to be clear about that because the internet will sometimes look at a story like this and manufacture heat that is not there. The Curry response was warm. The Draymond situation was mutual teasing between two guys who understand the rivalry they are operating inside. The Butler comments were nothing but glowing. This is a locker room that is pulling toward each other, not away, and Lendeborg's unfiltered honesty appears to be accelerating that process rather than complicating it. So here is where I leave it with you. Chat, and I want you to actually think about this one. We have seen plenty of rookies come into the league with raw talent, with the measurables, with everything scouts are looking for on paper, and flame out because they could not figure out how to exist inside a winning culture that was already established without them. And we have seen guys who were not the highest picks, not the flashiest prospects, become indispensable to championship teams specifically because of who they were in the room, not just what they could do on the court. Yaxel Lendeborg has shown us, in a handful of interactions before training camp has even started, that he belongs to the second category. But here is the question I am leaving you with: does all of this personality and all of this cultural fit actually translate when the lights come on and the games count? Because the NBA has seen plenty of lovable rookies who were great in the locker room and average on the floor. Or is Lendeborg the full package? The guy who made Curry laugh and Butler talk and Draymond tease him because greatness recognizes greatness, and all of these veterans already know something we are only beginning to figure out. Drop your answer in the comments right now. I want to know if you think Lendeborg becomes a cornerstone of this Warriors rebuild, or if this is a feel-good story that fades by February. Like the video if you think Steph's Instagram response was the most perfect veteran move we have seen in years, and I will see you in the next one.